This video is sponsored by FuzzyBot, creators of Lynked, Banner of the Spark. We're almost to the end of 2024 and we have yet to cover a new indie roguelite, and that feels like a real shame. So when the team at FuzzyBot reached out about their upcoming title, Lynked, Banner of the Spark, we had to check it out. As with all of our sponsored videos here on the channel, this is not a review. Our goal is to introduce you to the game, get you familiar with the systems, and leave you with enough knowledge about Lynked so you can determine if it's worth checking out. With that said, let's dive in. One look at Lynked and you can tell almost immediately that the game doesn't take itself too seriously. Its colorful art direction and cartoony character models might leave a strong first impression, but underneath all that vivid and vibrant imagery is a game that's built on a foundation of solid interconnected systems. At its core, Lynked is a co-op hack and slash with roguelite missions, but it also manages to weave in a full village building system akin to that of Animal Crossing. If you're naturally drawn to games like Hades or Dead Cells, but also don't mind harvesting resources and catching bots back at your cozy base, then Lynked might just be for you. And the fact that it's co-op is huge if you're into that. Shortly after the tutorial, you'll enter your town, which acts as such an important hub ahead of your missions. It's very possible you lose yourself here as there are so many things to do, even with no real progression in the game. You can harvest resources, which is mindless, but oh so satisfying. Ore, trees, flowers, fish, you name it, you can harvest them. But there's an added twist here. As you're harvesting, you'll notice small robots called FuzzyBots. As you harvest resources, they'll break away, and if you're quick enough, you can use your wire, a special grappling hook device, to capture them. This isn't purely for collection purposes either. Everything you harvest or catch in the game is meant to aid in progression in some way. FuzzyBots can be turned in to unlock new flowers and seeds, but that's one aspect we really didn't get access to during our preview. Gillybots, which are fish that you can catch around town, can be collected and turned into weapon blueprints of all things. If you thought fishing was pointless in other games, Lynked is here to prove that's not the case. I should also point out that while simple, the game's fishing mechanics are incredibly satisfying, especially when using a controller. Hooking a fish initiates a timing minigame, and based on your speed and accuracy, you'll either land the fish or it'll slip away. Those resource nodes I mentioned before, ore, trees, and flowers, also play an important role in your progression. As you play the game, you'll unlock new friendly bots called Unibots that will come stay at your town, and this is a feature that slowly unlocks new ways for you to get stronger. For example, once you rescue the smithy, he'll set up shop and craft you new weapons. Likewise, the tinkerer named Chip will upgrade your wire, giving it new and deadly functionality at the cost of friendship tokens. As you rescue each of these Unibots, you'll also unlock their various side quests, which are all aimed at making you stronger. Could you beeline it through the main story? Perhaps, but with each new resident in your town, you have new paths to pursue. All roads lead to missions, and this is where Lynked really aims to hook players that are into roguelites. All of your efforts in town aim to give you a better start within each mission, but in true rogue fashion, you still start each run from a relative square one. What I mean is this: if you craft a new weapon at the smithy, you can opt to go into your next run with that new weapon, but you can only upgrade it during the run. That's the nature of the roguelite elements. Yes, you have a stronger base weapon, but you still need to put in work to maximize it for each mission. Unlike a game like Hades, missions in Lynked are more closely tied to a specific goal or reward. You can pursue the main campaign or special requests, and each mission will reward you with something specific and different. As you might expect, the main campaign missions unlock key NPCs and really push your entire game forward, while special requests further your progression with specific NPCs, potentially expanding their shop or giving you access to new upgrades. Again, the game is presenting multiple paths, but it's up to you to choose which one you want to pursue. Regardless of what you choose to do, all roads will lead through missions, and this is where all of your hard work in town comes into focus. Before each mission, you'll enter camp, and here you'll have the chance to tweak your loadout and acquire your first upgrade from the smithy. At the start of the run, and then after you clear each area, the smithy will offer you one upgrade. and this is the core of your build during a run. Each weapon consists of base stats, a core which adds an elemental effect to the weapon, and mods which further enhance its capabilities. With each upgrade from the smithy, you're shaping the nature of your weapon, but you have to be smart about this because you can only choose one upgrade per area. On the other hand, you can also throw this right out the window because throughout each area, you'll also loot a number of chests which will give you the option to equip, scrap, or core any weapon that you find. It's a delicate balance between upgrading what you have and embracing something new, and the team does give you enough options to really make that choice meaningful. If you choose to scrap a weapon, you'll get scrap, which you can use to open specific chests that have a scrap cost. Scrap also gets converted into bits at the end of a run, which you can use to purchase items back in town. Equipping a new weapon is self-explanatory as you're actively swapping weapons in favor of something new. Finally, if you core a weapon, you actually absorb the elemental core of a dropped weapon and it slots it into your equipped weapon. It's a bit convoluted, but think of it like absorbing an elemental effect, which gives you some finite control over how your weapon functions. Throughout each area, your goal is clear: defeat all of the bots that are looking to stop you. Like any good roguelite, each enemy has a simple yet distinct moveset, like the robodogs that lunge at you, the sword bots that attack with a flash of steel, or the rocket bots that shoot explosives from afar. Each enemy by itself is simple, but together, in a chorus of steel and destruction, the challenge becomes intense. Of course, those early missions are going to be a breeze, but once new enemy variants start working their way into the action, it really picks up. Everything up until this point has been smooth, but this is where a lesser roguelite might fall apart, because in order to survive that onslaught, you need to have finite control over your character. In Linked, the action is incredibly smooth with options to sprint and dodge, making things much easier to navigate. I was actually surprised at how much I felt in control of my character, and that matters because each area is littered with traps and throwables that can be used to your advantage. Honestly, it's one of the first roguelike games I played where the environment felt like an equal part of the combat experience, and in harmony with your wire, that grappling hook I mentioned before, you can pick up and throw objects or even smaller bots and throw them at other enemies for massive damage. The more you string together your attacks and keep the pressure on enemies, the more you rack up your KO combo meter. When the timer expires, it converts your streak into scrap that you can then use to purchase new items. The real beauty of each run is just how quickly they happen. If you're someone that's only got 15 to 20 minutes to play a game at any given time, you can most likely get through a mission which lasts anywhere from 8 to 12 minutes, at least in the early parts of the game. That's really unheard of in this space, and while some might say that's diluting an important aspect of the genre, Linked is just making the experience a bit more bite-sized, which some might find appealing. This does begin to change as you work your way towards the second chapter, but it's a great new player experience. Missions are shorter by design, even the longer ones, but the action also helps push that pace. During each run, you have a few tools at your disposal. First is your weapon, which, as we've discussed, helps form the foundation of your combat identity. Each weapon comes with a standard attack that you can chain into a few basic combos, as well as a charged attack, which is unique to each weapon. Each weapon also has a special attack that's on a short cooldown. This is often the hardest hitting and most efficient skill in your arsenal. On top of that, you have your wire, which we've discussed a few times now. Not only does that let you grab and throw environmental objects, but once upgraded, you can use the wire to engage with enemies in a variety of ways. Finally, you have your spark power, which helps round out your kit. This is a powerful ability that either deals damage to enemies or can assist your co-op allies, and uses an independent resource called charge, which you can build up as you fight and loot throughout each mission. You have just enough at your disposal that the action feels incredibly fluid, and the key is to lean into all of the tools available to you in order to make short work of the bots blocking your path. If you're still on the fence about checking out Linked Banner of the Spark, never fear, because right now you can play the game as part of the Steam Next Fest completely free, and this isn't some dinky demo either. You'll be able to go hands-on and experience a healthy chunk of the first portion of the game, so you can make up your own mind if Linked is worth picking up when it launches. Thanks again to FuzzyBot for sponsoring this video. If you appreciate previews like this and you want more videos showcasing new and upcoming games, be sure to drop us a like and consider subscribing for more in your feed. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.